Hello and welcome to Coronacrisis. My name's David Haythornthwaite and I'm the chairman of AFC Fylde. And over the next few weeks and months, I'm hopefully going to take you through what goes on behind the scenes of a non-league football team at times like this. We're going to discuss all the issues regarding behind the scenes, the players, off-field staff, all the things that contribute to the running of the club, and how we're dealing with the issues that have been thrown at us on a daily and weekly basis, so that it gives you a really good insight to the club and the running of clubs in general. So I look forward to you joining me on this journey.
David, thank you once again for joining us. We look behind the scenes at AFC Fylde. The first topic on today's episode that we'd like to discuss is the furlough scheme. We've got some further details and we'd like to know how that affects the club.
Yeah, I think when we spoke last time, we were speculating what shall we say, the new furlough scheme might look like, and now we've got pretty clear details. So the existing furlough scheme in its current form, which is 80% support from the government, as most people would know, is going to last or continue, shall we say, through June and July, and then after that it will be a 10% contribution to that 80. So the government will pay 70, the company will pay 10%, and then after that I think it then goes to 20%, and then it ends at the end of September. So from October there'll be no more furlough scheme, there'll be no more money available. So at least, unlike maybe some of the things in the National League, at least we have got clarity. And again, I want to put on record, I think the government have done absolutely amazing job in supporting everybody. And I know that AFC Fylde in its current form, wouldn't be where we are without that furlough scheme. We'd have had to make some really tough decisions. So, fair play and thanks where they're due. So as regards our situation with the club, there's, shall we say, two different parts to the club. There's the backroom staff, shall we say, or front office staff. You're part of that. Jonty, Jim, the management, Jonathan 18, all those people. And there's the football side. And as we all know, the football side's been a little bit more difficult to deal with. But we've had, out of all the players that are currently on contract, and I'm going to come to that because we later on, we as we know, we're coming to the end of the contract for most professionals, ends at the end of June, and new contracts start in July, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But with the furlough scheme, we've, as I previously indicated, have, out of all the professionals that are currently on contract, there's only two who, shall we say, have refused to sign the paperwork as it is, the furlough paperwork that the club's provided, and those two are being paid 50% of their salary, which we agreed we would do. We felt that was a fair amount, so at least they could live and they wouldn't be starving. So in one player's case, that's £450. Again, without making too fine a point of it, any one of those people are not working for us. They're welcome to go and supplement that income anywhere they want to, as some of the backroom staff have done at Fylde by coming working in one of my other businesses. So I don't think anybody's actually starving out there. They may not be happy, but they're not starving. As regards to the rest of them, again, we've been away a few weeks from this particular subject, but the club are paying 80% of their salary. So a lot of times the 80% furlough money from the government only goes to $2,500 a month. Some of our players are more than that, so we agreed at the very beginning to top that up to 80% of the salary. So everybody at the moment in the club is getting paid 80% of their salary. That first scheme comes to an end at the end of May, and it's been extended now to June and July. So the initial letter that we sent out to the players covered the period from May and June. So we've sent them all a new letter last week. The players get paid weekly. Backroom staff get paid monthly. The backroom staff, we're getting their letters in the next few days. I know you asked me about yours, said you hadn't got it. But we need to make sure that all those letters, all the paperwork's in order. We have to send it all off to the league to be kosher. And we have to have all that paperwork today to enable us to pay the wages, because if we don't have the paperwork, then we can't pay wages. So I expect to see it all in. There's no reason why we wouldn't, but that will enable us to continue and the players to have security to know that they'll be paid now for the next 2 months by a combination of the club and the government. So that's good news for all concerned, really.
Good. And how's the news been received? You said everyone's taking it relatively well.
Yeah, I think that look, I think we got over the worst of the. At the beginning it was very difficult, as you know. It's well documented, and we had a few run-ins, but look, everybody accepts the way it is. It's still on football. Football's on every single day on TV, on Sky Sports. Everybody knows the situation certainly isn't getting better, and it's not going to get better. And again, we'll talk about some of those things later, but at the moment, at least everybody knows, again, thanks to the government, that for the next 2 months, June and July, they will be paid as they've been paid for the last 2 months, which I think's a good scheme in the circumstance. And
just moving on, we've seen a little bit of feedback on the videos about people maybe taking other jobs or work elsewhere, even our own players.
Yeah.
Can you just sort of explain? We've gone over it in terms of the Vet Plus. People are allowed to work there, and you've offered that, but people can go elsewhere.
Yeah, we've said from day one, and in actual fact, we encouraged all our players, because we're not asking our players to work. You can't when they're furloughed, but as I pointed out to listeners, viewers, in the past, that yes, you are able to go and get another job somewhere else. It may seem strange, and I certainly questioned it quite closely when I heard about it. But no, we'd encourage them to do that, especially for those who've got commitments that they're not able to avoid. As we said, a lot of times you can postpone your mortgage, you can postpone various things, take a holiday on them. But if you're not able to do those things, in actual fact, I think I said at the time, I'd written to everyone. I have some personally. I have some properties split around the Fylde area that I've sort of bought over the last 25, 30 years, and I've got hairdressers, and I've got mainly hairdressers it seems, but different businesses in there, and people living in flats. And the first thing I did was to write to them at the time. And say, look, if you're unable to make your payment because of coronavirus, let me know and I'll give you a payment holiday. And I think out of 16, I think I only had one who actually said, David, I can't pay, can you help? So again, people took real great amount of responsibility, and now, these are, shall we say, normal people with normal businesses. So they didn't, they were able to take advantage of the government scheme. So I think most people have been able to get through and manage things as best as they can in the circumstances. So it's a good scheme. It continues to be one, but it will come to an end. And when it comes to an end, then things will have to change.
And we briefly spoke about it earlier, but we've had some feedback from some of our own players. Have they contacted you about working elsewhere other than with Vet Plus?
Well, no one's actually contacted us about, can I work somewhere else, or what are the rules or regulations. We have our own, as you know, our own in-house legal team and our own HR department to answer those questions. Daniel Staines, who runs that. And of course, we've had quite a few people. I think we've got 4 or 5 now, people who are working in the factory, helping out. Sheldon Green was one of those. He was a first footballer to start working in there. But no, we haven't heard from anyone else, and as far as we know, they all. I assume if I don't hear from them that they're all healthy and happy, or as happy as they can be, or some of them maybe have managed to find work elsewhere.
And just finally, I know you'd like to place on record. You've mentioned it off camera as well. Your thanks to the way people have responded to. Obviously, you've had to send out difficult letters to people. I know that you appreciate that.
Yeah, I think I'm a great believer in that. 95% of the world people are decent and honest, and have some reasonable moral values. And I've always run my business that way, and I sort of treat life that way. You'll always get 5% of people who will find something wrong in everyone, will take advantage of everything, will cheat and lie and steal and whatever else. But most people are decent, and if you treat them decently, hopefully he'll treat you back decently. And I think that we've tried to do that. But most importantly, Adam, as well, to be honest. That's important to me. I mean, you won't always get the answer that you want from me, but you will get an answer, and you'll get an honest answer. And I won't try and, shall we say, put a Band-Aid on something. I use that expression a lot. I'm not a Band-Aid person. I think, come on, if we've got a problem, let's get to the root of the problem and solve it. Decide the best way how to solve it, and then let everybody know. And dare I say, they may not like particularly our solution for solving it, but at least they'll have an answer and they know what we can do.
Thank you.